Welcome to my Aldi meal plan for four. I had this great idea. What if I shopped exclusively at Aldi for 28 days and would see how much money I could save and how many great meals I could create? Disclaimer for you, I have not shopped in an Aldi UK since 2004 and I've lived abroad and I've just moved back, and so I'm going in blind like many people are that are beginners to Aldi, and I've grabbed my favourite products, I've seen what deals are going, and I've turned that into delicious meals. And this is my 28-day meal plan. Also note, this is perfect for a family of four. Our family setup is mum and dad, adult son, and at the time of recording this, two under sixes. So note, I'm calling it a family of four because my little ones don't really eat that much. My eldest doesn't eat that much either, so this would really suit a family of four. And plus, we have plenty of leftovers too. And what's great about it is that most of the recipes here are healthy, but of course, we've got a lot of family favourites with some pasta and some pizza and some other things thrown into. So it's great fun, and it's not a rice and beans, I'm on a budget kind of Aldi meal plan. Hey, this is Samantha here from RecipeThis.com. And if you've not heard of me before, then I run Recipe This with my husband Dominic, which is a food website that specialises in teaching people how to cook with kitchen gadgets. It features ones like Instant Pot, Air Fryer, Slow Cooker, Soup Maker, Bread Machine and such like. But one thing is that whilst I love my kitchen gadgets, my second love is shopping at Aldi and saving money on groceries and saving money generally in the day-to-day living costs. For example, take a look at the picture of me that you see now on the screen. That was actually taken in the Black Forest in Germany after myself and my family went on an 8-week camping trip throughout Europe. We visited 8 countries, and best of all, we did it on the smallest of budgets. I think most people probably spend more money on 2 weeks in Lanzarote than what we spent on 8 weeks of fun-filled laughter and lots of adventures. But back to the food. I've always loved the idea of saving money on food, and I've just arrived back in England after living in Portugal for many years. I don't have cupboards and fridge freezers full of food. I'm starting from scratch because we've moved house, and I thought it would be a great time to do an Aldi challenge at the same time. So now you know more about me. Let me know about yourself in the comments. I would love to help you save money on groceries, and hopefully some of these ideas will be really helpful to you. I also wanted to mention before we get started a few points to be aware of. I consider shopping at Aldi going in blind because they always have different deals going on and you don't necessarily know what all those deals are before you go. So I tend to shop at Aldi first and maybe think, right, I need 4 or 5 meats for the week, but I don't mind what those meats are, and I find that you get better value for money than doing that rather than saying, oh, I'm just going to buy X this week. The second thing is salads and dips at Aldi are fantastic. The thing about them is that they're often on the yellow stickers and they make fantastic fillers for food. For example, you can just grab some of their salad, serve it on the side for dinner. And then with the dips, what the dips are fantastic for is mixing into your dinners so that you've got a creamy sauce. So let's say you're doing chicken breast in a mustard sauce, you can add in one of these dips to make it nice and creamy. You can also use it to build yourself a potato bar. So let's say you're having jacket potatoes night, you can just add all these dips to the dinner table, and they're just fantastic for people mixing and matching what they're having on their jacket potato. And then next, what I like to do at Aldi, which I've done since I first shopped there in 2003, is to build up a pantry. By this I mean, if you're on a low income and you haven't got much food in, I recommend that you buy one item for your pantry each week, and then you can kind of build it up, and then that's your fallback if your wages are paid late or if you want to go a couple of days without paying for some food so that you can save some money, it's great for that. You can be stockpiling things like tin tomatoes, flour, sugar, tea bags, whatever it is that you think that you'll always need and that you could survive on if you had to go a few days without grocery shopping. And then next, I like to think about doing recipes that double up recipes. Cook once, eat twice is the motto. And basically that means that you make a bigger pot of food and then you're reheating the leftovers or freezing them and then reheating for another day. It's fantastic for saving money as well. And we have many recipes that we'll be featuring in these videos that fall under that rule. And of course, there's always this misconception that Aldi food is all unhealthy. I admit that when I first started shopping at Aldi, I was 21, I'm there for their biscuits. They used to do a box of broken biscuits that I used to get excited about. They had brilliant chocolate. They had all the fizzy drinks that I could possibly want. And, you kind of thought about Aldi like that, but the reality is that they do some delicious, healthy food in Aldi. And it's very easy to eat healthy when you shop there. So don't just think, oh, it's processed food and freezer food, because it's really not. Once you look through the different recipes we feature at Aldi, you'll see that a lot of them are healthy. Though, of course, if you don't want to be healthy and you just want to throw frozen chicken wings from Aldi in the air fryer, that's fine too. And then, of course, the last thing to mention is that this follows a series. What happened is I was planning a big video to do for you, and then I thought to myself, this video is going to be huge. And we all have different interests in Aldi. Some of you will just want to see my grocery haul, whilst others would like to see my meal plan using those groceries, or how I audit with my supplies from Aldi. So what I've done is I've split it into a series of 5 videos so that you can follow them along at home at your own pace. And don't forget to check out our free air fryer mini course. It's fantastic if you're new to the air fryer or you're looking for new and exciting tips on how to use the air fryer. It's a 5-day mini course delivered by email. It's totally free and it's great for using alongside the air fryer recipes that we've mentioned today. So anyway, with day 1, I kind of started it late in the day on day 1. So I did shopping in the evening and then I made a baked potato bar. Now, if you've not had a baked potato bar before, then they're absolutely awesome. It's a really, really easy way to do dinner. Basically, what you do is you cook some baked potatoes. Of course, I'm using the pressure cooker. It makes the job so much quicker. And that is literally all I had to do for dinner was steam some potatoes. Then I got some coleslaw, some tuna mayo and some wild rice on stickers from Aldi, and then served these up as ideas for what to put on top of the baked potatoes. And we also used some leftover potatoes we had as well, so they weren't always brand new, just bought potatoes. And it's just a great way to use up your leftovers. And then on to day 2. Day 2 for breakfast, I had air fry egg cups with some yellow sticky cherry tomatoes, onion, and some wonky pepper. Though I have no idea why it is wonky, because to me it just looks like a normal pepper. And the kids and hubby had some scrambled eggs with mushrooms and cheese. I'm not really keen on scrambled eggs, and air fry egg cups is my favourite air fry breakfast. But hang on a minute, I'm sure you want to know what air fry egg cups looks like. So on the screen now, you will see our air fry egg cups. Oh wow, don't they look delicious? And all it is omelette ingredients cooked in the air fryer, and they come out absolutely delicious. And then for lunch, because I'm all about leftovers, leftover potatoes from last night because we didn't manage all the potatoes. I tried some air fry pasta chips, didn't like them, and then we had some more coleslaw. It amazes me how long those packs of coleslaw last when you get them on deals from Aldi. Then for dinner, I made a big batch of tomato sauce. And then what I also made is a minced pasta bake in the slow cooker. Again, minced pasta bake on your screen now. Do check it out. Then we had loads of leftovers, and I wanted to follow the cook once, eat twice rules. You know, you don't want to spend all the time slaving away in the kitchen, and it's so nice when you have leftovers. And I'll tell you now, the minced pasta bake made a lot, and there's absolutely plenty for leftovers. And then for day 3 breakfast, it was crumpets. If you've not had crumpets yet in the air fryer, then they are amazing. And of course, there was sticker crumpets, so I'd save myself some pennies there as well. Then for lunch, it was leftovers from the minced pasta bake. I made it into leftover bolognese, and we had it with some salad and the last baked potato. Can you believe it? How long those baked potatoes lasted, because I did them in bulk. And then for dinner, I had this great idea. I got a garlic bread from Aldi. I then covered it with some extras, so some extra cheese, tomatoes and whatnot. And it absolutely tasted lovely. And if you think how much you pay for a pizza takeaway, and what we'd done is we'd done our own fakeaway, much cheaper, especially when you compare it to the cost of a McDonald's. So we had the pizza that we'd made better. Well, it wasn't really a pizza, was it? It was a garlic bread. So a garlic bread pizza, and then yellow sticker salad. And we'd also treated ourselves to some celebrations that were on a deal in Aldi as well. And that's fantastic, just for something simple when you can't afford takeaways. And then for day 4, breakfast, well, you guessed it, a leftover garlic bread, which is just so nice. Who here has reheated pizza for breakfast? I know I have, loads and loads of times. And then for lunch, we had a chicken breast and a slice of bacon with leftover pasta and spinach. So basically what we did is we took a chicken breast, we stuffed it with soft cheese, wrapped it in bacon and air fried it, and it was delicious. And also, if you've not done it before, you know, cook your spinach with some garlic butter, and it is wonderful cream spinach, and it is amazing. And then for dinner, which I believe needs a shout out on the screen, was pork leg joint with vegetables and potatoes and hidden veggies gravy. What I did was, in the slow cooker, I added a pork leg joint from Aldi's, of course, which are yummy, by the way, and then added in potatoes and veggies. And then I blended some of the veggies and potatoes and the juice from the pork to make a delicious hidden veggie gravy. And of course, the leftovers are good for another day with the leftover veg and the leftover gravy. So note again, we are prepping once, cook twice. And then also, I've mentioned this before in some of the videos, is that Aldi's fruit and veg doesn't tend to last that long. So I noticed that the carrots, by the end of day 4, have already started to turn. So what I've done is I've peeled them and prepped them and loaded them in the fridge, ready for making slow cooker honey carrots. And you know, it's so much better than chucking these carrots out. And if they're prepped already, then when you're tired, you know, you've got them ready to go. It's just so much easier. And then day 5, I'm tired, I'm not feeling too well, so I haven't actually cooked anything today. So for breakfast come lunch or brunch, I did crumpets again. The TikTok crumpets thing. Yes, I am on TikTok. Am I too old? I just wondered, because I'm like just turning 40. Am I too old for TikTok? Just asking. Well, anyway, the TikTok thing is to get some crumpets, slice them up, smother them in butter and cheese, and bake them in the oven. So, of course, I did an air fry version of that for brunch. And then for dinner, I was naughty. It wasn't Aldi's. I sent the hubby to the chip shop for a lovely fish supper, but I did a cheaper version. You know, whilst normally families will often get fish chips and mushy peas, and you know, family of five, they might order five of them. What we did instead was I just got chips, scraps, and gravy. Scraps, you know, if you've not had them before, you know, which outside of the UK most haven't, scraps is basically what falls off the fish as it cooks. So it's like little pieces of batter, as you will. And it's absolutely delicious. And growing up, all I ever wanted was chips, scraps, and gravy. And, you know, the scraps really fill you up and it just makes a really cheaper fish and chip shop trip. And best of all, scraps are free. They don't charge for them in the fish and chip shops. So essentially all you're paying for is some chips and some gravy. So it makes it much, much cheaper. And of course, the chip portions are huge. So you've got leftovers from another day. So if you want a cheaper alternative to a takeout, then that's it. And then also we did an extra shop today, so we've topped up on a few little bits as well. And then for day 6, we had a leftover day, so we decided to clear out everything that we felt was looking past its best that we'd maybe forgotten about. So breakfast was some strawberries with some yogurt and mushroom omelettes. And then, you guessed it, lunch was leftovers, chips, scraps and gravy, and it was reheated in the Ninja. I've never reheated scraps before, but oh my God, in the air fryer reheated, or the Ninja air fryer, absolutely amazing. So if you're really into your chips and scraps, then you must try it. And then dinner, as I called it, was a gathering of fridge leftovers. What I did is I air fried leftover vegetables and turned them into roasted vegetables via the air fryer. I did my honey carrots in the slow cooker. And then I still had some leftover veg from the pork leg meal. Tossed it in extra virgin olive oil, added some grated cheese, cooked it in the air fryer, and then we served it with salad and some leftover spinach that I'd turned into cream spinach. So overall, it was a delicious meal just from grabbing little bits and bobs out the fridge and then reheating them and turning them into something amazing. Then for breakfast on day 6, it was back to my favourite air fry egg cups. I absolutely love them. They're just amazing. And then what I did is I divided the leftover vegetables that I'd prepped into 2 lots. The idea being that one lot would become a vegetable stew and the other lot would become a vegetable bake. So we had slow cooker veggie bake for lunch and the leftovers from the veggie bake for dinner. And I've mentioned this already in this video, but it was also today when I did a shop and I managed to get a 1 lamb steak at 75% off, which was brilliant. So that meant I paid less than £1 for a lamb steak, which, oh, isn't that amazing? And plus I got a few other deals. And also our adult son is home at the moment. So we're feeding him as well, so we need a bigger stews and casseroles to make way for him. And then for day 8, it was omelettes and scrambled eggs for everyone for breakfast. Lunch was more veggie bake, because when you make a veggie bake, essentially it's just vegetables in a cheese sauce, and it's amazing how much of a quantity it actually makes and how it can fill you up for a few days. And because it's vegetables, it's very good for reheating without having to worry in the same way that you worry when you're cooking chicken. And then for dinner, we had another batch of chicken wrapped in bacon in the Ninja with some fries. Just yummy, easy, everyday food, really. And then we're on with day 9. And we had omelette and scrambled eggs for breakfast. Then lunch, I was just craving some. I don't know why, because I very rarely eat it, but I had chicken Kiev and chips. I'd managed to get a really good deal on some chicken Kievs from Aldi and then some frozen chips. And the kids were in heaven because it's very rare we leave them any processed foods. And they're like, oh, can we have this every day, mummy? And then dinner was vegetable stew and dumplings. Remember, I mentioned a few days ago about that other pan of vegetables? Well, that other pan of vegetables became a vegetable stew. And of course, it's ridiculously cheap to make your own dumplings without suet and then load them into the slow cooker. It's just amazing. You know, do check it out now. That's our vegetable stew with the dumpling. And it's just amazing. And of course, it makes a massive batch. So, you know, I always think of it kind of like the World War II foods. When they were on the rations in England, it was very much about growing your own vegetables and what you could make from them. You always had some flour in the pantry to be able to make your own homemade dumplings with. So it's just a great example of that. And we do plan to upcycle the lamb steaks with the vegetable stew and dumplings that's left over to make a lamb stew. And then that was day 9. So on with day 10. So for day 10, breakfast was leftover dumplings. Oh my God, leftover dumplings reheated in the air fryer taste amazing. You know, not exactly your standard breakfast, but I just looked at them in the fridge this morning. I thought, oh, I could really eat some of those. And who doesn't love the dumplings off the stew? Then for lunch, it's another shout out to a great recipe. And this one is Instant Pot Sloppy Joes. If you've not done Sloppy Joes before, then think of it a bit like a bolognese, but it goes into a nice sandwich and it's absolutely delicious. And of course, Aldi always has 75% off bread buns, so you could use your bread buns and make yourself a Sloppy Joes. And then for dinner, we had slow cooker leek and potato soup, and that was using 75% off bread again. So again, we're making use of these yellow stickers that are floating about. And then what we also did is we had some stock and some leftover soup. So we kind of put these together so that they can make a stock for something else. And we'll see what we can do with those. And then for day 11, breakfast was a fruit salad. Lunch was some 75% off pizzas that I got from Aldi's. So for a price thing, these 75% off pizzas, once you deduct the 75% at the till, worked out at 36 pence a pizza. So 2 pizzas, 72p for the 5 of us. I mean, come on, isn't that a fantastic deal? When you think of how much you spend on a pizza takeaway and you think that you could go to Aldi's at tea time, get some 75% off pizzas, and you've got a fantastic pizza for dinner when you can't be bothered to cook or you're too tired. And of course, you'll be saying, oh, but I didn't get 75% off pizzas when I wanted pizza. Well, I recommend you buy them when you see them on 75%, load them into the freezer, and then they are just perfect for another time. And then for dinner, we had got some chicken tikka flatbread that was 75% off, 75% off coleslaw and 30% off fruit salad. So we had some chicken tikka flatbread with the coleslaw and then finished off our meal with some fruit salad, and it was just great. I just love the deals that you get in Aldi's. And then on with day 12. Breakfast was the second of the flatbreads that was left over because everyone else was so stuffed, there was still some left. And then leftover vegetable stew was added for lunch. So let me talk you through this slowly because it's quite an interesting concept of leftovers. Leftover vegetable stew that I'd mentioned a few days ago. That leftover potato and leek soup stock that I told you about. my 75% off pack of lamb steaks, which I'd cut into strips or chunks. Plus I had 2 slices of bacon left over. And then I made a new batch of homemade dumplings. And then I had a cheap as chips, lamb stew and dumplings. I mean, you think of lamb stew and you're like thinking, oh, I can't afford lamb. But this lamb was less than £1 for a steak. And that steak cut up gives so much flavour to a stew. And then you add the bacon to that. And it's just a yummy, cheapo meal that you can just make in the Instant Pot, in the slow cooker, or whichever kitchen gadgets you've got that's most suitable for it. And then dinner, it was Friday night, so I went and got myself another fish supper. Well, I call it fish supper. It was chips, scraps and gravy again, and it was just perfect for a quick, easy meal on a Friday night. And we didn't feel like we were missing out or anything. And then day 13, this was a great day because not only did I have some kale I'd forgotten about in the fridge and made it into the most amazing air fried kale chips, but for lunch I made halloumi burgers. Look, check them out now, aren't they good? And basically, I've never had a halloumi burger before. I've had halloumi gyros and a few other options, but never an actual burger. And I had this great idea. You see, I think of halloumi and I think of the Mediterranean. I think of the lovely summer vegetables that they have there. So what I did is I grabbed some discounted Mediterranean vegetables that I got from Aldi. I then cooked them in the air fryer with the halloumi, and then instead of your traditional salad garnish in your burger, you've got lovely Mediterranean vegetables. And then you can add your favourite mayonnaise or aioli if you want a taste of the Mediterranean, and you just got a great burger. And then, of course, halloumi is cheap, and it's a great way to use a cheap product and have a much cheaper burger for your Saturday night. And then for dinner, yeah, you guessed it, we reheated the halloumi burger and then served it with some leftover chips that were from the chippy. So it was a great burger and chips a night for us all. And then we're on with day 14, which for breakfast was a breakfast slow cooker hash, reheated, that we made ahead yesterday. And then lunch, another fantastic burger that I must mention, and that is air fryer pork and apple burgers. If you've not made them before, you can just use some cheap apples from Aldi, some of their pork mince, and you've got a great burger. And we served it with homemade air fried chips. And then for dinner, leftovers from breakfast, so the leftover hash. And we'd also managed to get, which I thought was really interesting, was 75% off goujons. So like your chicken and your fish goujons. Or you might call them dippers or just breaded chicken strips. And we loaded them into sandwiches and they were amazing. And then that is halfway through our 28-day Aldi meal plan. So now we're on to day 15. And for day 15, for breakfast, we had hash. For lunch, we had zucchini and corn fritters, which are yummy. And if you've not done fritters before, they are as cheap as chips. You know, you're using a cheaper batter, you know, that you probably have the ingredients in already without even going to Aldi. Adding in some grated zucchini, or as us Brits call it, courgettes, and adding in some frozen corn, and you've got the most amazing fritters for lunch. And then for dinner, I had some more carrots that needed using up. So we made carrot soup and served it with another one of those cheap 75% off pizzas. So again, a super cheap dinner. And the kids love pizza, they love a bowl of soup, so it's a nice mixture for them. And then for day 16, we had breakfast. It was the last bit of the breakfast hash. Then for lunch, it was a teriyaki chicken and some air fry fries. The teriyaki chicken was another one on the deals. Not something I would normally buy, but I thought I'd give it a go seeing as it was on discount and it was rather nice. And then for dinner, we had what Aldi calls their premium burgers, and we had them with some potato cubes. It was nice to try some of the Aldi burgers and see what all the fuss was about and see if they were for us or not. And then on to day 17, I found some more of my 75% off crumpets in the freezer and cooked them from frozen in the air fryer. For lunch, it was what I call unbreaded chicken tenders. So basically what you can do is you can use, like normally when you make a KFC chicken at home, you flour your chicken, you egg it, and then you cover it in flavoured breadcrumbs. What if instead you just put it straight on the egg, and then instead of breadcrumbs, it's herby seasoning from the herbs that you've used for breading your chicken. Well, that's what we did, and it was absolutely delicious. And the herbs give a wonderful crisp to the chicken and makes it feel like it's been breaded when it hasn't. And then we served it with some crinkle cut fries that we totally forgot about that was still in our freezer. And then dinner was sausages in homemade wraps. I have to say, Dominic makes the most amazing homemade wraps. We usually use the bread maker, or you can do it from scratch. He makes his own flatbread dough and then he rolls it out and warms them up. They can be done in the air fryer, in a frying pan, whatever you've got, and then serve them with some Aldi sausages, and they're like the best sandwiches ever. Nothing beats homemade, does it? And then we're on with day 18. Day 18, breakfast was crumpets again, and the boys had an omelette because my boys don't like crumpets as much as I do. And then for lunch, I made this huge pot of halloumi pasta in the Instant Pot. I mean, check it out. Doesn't it look yummy? And basically, what I did is I made sure I had enough so that we had loads left over so that we can freeze some, we can make some into some different meals, and then it's just there and ready for whenever we want it. And then for dinner, we had some of the leftover halloumi pasta with some sliced gammon. I managed to get a really good deal on gammon at Aldi as well, so we've now cooked that and we can use it for over a few different meals. And then on with day 19. Breakfast is air fryer egg cups. Lunch is pulled gammon. So we just cooked a gammon in the slow cooker until it was pulled. So a bit like pulled pork, but of course we're talking about gammon. And then for dinner, we had more of the leftover pasta with some gammon. Plus, I filled up 2 containers of the pasta and they're now ready for the freezer. And then breakfast for day 20 was again crumpets because I've still got some left. Can you believe it? Because it's just me eating the crumpets. They seem to last forever. And then lunch was leftover pulled gammon sandwiches, which is a great use of your leftover pulled gammon. You can do the same with pulled pork or whatever you've got in. And then dinner was baked potatoes with some of that bolognese from the freezer. Note that was at the beginning of my 28 days when I made minced pasta bake, so I've saved it for later. My only effort for dinner was to place some potatoes into the Instant Pot and literally steam them, and that's it. So that's brilliant for a quick and easy dinner for you to all enjoy. And then what I've also done, which I've got a separate YouTube video for you for, so do check out the other video, is I've got an audit, and basically at day 20 I'm going through what I've got left in the fridge, freezer and pantry and seeing what I can make with those recipes so that they can inspire me to reduce how much I spend in Aldi and also to make some great meals out of the leftovers without any food waste. And then you can place it on your fridge or freezer as a quick note so that you know what foods you need to use up. and it just reminds you of everything you've got without having to rummage through looking for something when you're doing dinner. And then for day 21, breakfast was kale chips because I've noticed that I still had some that needed using up. And then lunch was a whole chicken with leftover pasta. You know, you can grab an Aldi whole chicken. It takes 45 minutes to cook in the air fryer. It's juicy, it's delicious, and then you can cut it up and everybody can have the favourite part of the chicken. So usually for me that's chicken breast. The kids always fight over the thighs, and Dominic loves the drummers. And we had that, of course, with some more of the leftover pasta because it really fills you up and it makes you feel full for ages, and it stops you picking and wanting snacks. And then for dinner, we had another batch of the Courgette Fritters, which was brilliant for something quick. And also, if you make too much Courgette Fritters, you can always have them for breakfast because they're a great alternative as like a savoury pancake. And then day 22, breakfast was, of course, you guessed it, Courgette Fritters. The kids absolutely adore the Courgette Fritters, and they'll often ask Dominic to make them some. You know, it's Daddy, please, can we have fritters for dinner? And he'll often make a big batch in a bowl of the batter, and then he's got some leftovers for them for breakfast as well. And then for lunch, I absolutely love part-baked bread. Do check out our recipe for air fryer part-baked bread because it's amazing. And then of course we cooked it in some bacon, and you've got bacon sandwiches, and the part-baked bread tastes like homemade bread, so it feels like you just made homemade bread and made homemade bacon butties. And then for dinner, air fry roast chicken with all the leftover salad bits that we had going on. So when you do the roast chicken compared to the air fry whole chicken for the air fryer, what you can do is you can also fill in the gaps, fill it with stuffing, cook some potatoes and some veggies at the same time, and it's just fantastic for that. And then for tomorrow, we're doing something different with our Aldi. We're actually going out for the day, and we're going to a wonderful place that we love called Dalby Forest, which is in the middle of the North York Moors in the north of England, and it's just a beautiful day out. But because I was following this Aldi meal challenge, I didn't want to let you down by cheating and eating out and spending too much money and wasting money. So I decided to make a picnic. So late on day 22, I made air fried sausage rolls, tuna and sweet corn sandwiches with 75% discount bread rolls, as well as 75% discount tuna and sweet corn. And then we also had Aldi crisps, Aldi chocolate cake bars, Aldi bananas. We took some fizzy drinks with us, and I also made some air fry egg cups because they transport so well, and they can be like a crustless quiche, so you could just fill them up with cheese and tomato or chicken, whatever your favourite filling is, and they're just fantastic. Day 23, breakfast was an omelette, so we'd stayed full because we knew we had a long walk ahead of us, because it's nice to do the long walks inside Dalby Forest, especially when we're taking our boxer with us. So for lunch, it was the picnic, and then for dinner, we had some of our sausage rolls that we didn't manage to finish as leftovers. We're all tired, so it was nice just to have some sausage rolls to tuck into. And then on with day 24. For breakfast, we had an air fry omelette. Then for lunch, it was a slow cooker corned beef hash. And then for dinner, it was air fryer corned beef pasties. Now, this is what I'm talking about, where you are making use of your leftovers. You've cooked a slow cooker corned beef hash, which is very cheap to make anyway because it's just a can of corned beef, potatoes and carrots. but then you're making yourself a quick batch of homemade pastry and then filling up the leftovers into my little pasty maker, and then you have delicious corned beef pasties in the air fryer, and they're just fantastic for that. You could do the same with any stew or casserole. You know, you don't need a lot. It's like a tablespoon of leftovers per pasty. You really don't put a lot in, because if you overfill them, they break and the filling comes out. So if you've just got 4 tablespoons left of leftovers from your stew, that is enough to do 4 pasties the next day. And then day 25, breakfast was an air fryer omelette. Lunch was a clear out, so we had wings, fries, the partly baked bread that we still had left over, and some cheese, and it was lovely. And then for dinner, that same cheese was made to use grilled cheese with some more of our 75% off bread. A note about the 75% off bread: we're not sat on it for 10 days after we've bought it. What we do with it is, as soon as we get it, if we're not going to eat any that day, we place it into the freezer, and then we can cook it from frozen. And then you have a massive supply of bread in your freezer for whenever you need to use it for recipes. And then day 26, I had the cheese crumpets again for breakfast. Then for lunch, it was another leftovers, chicken in a leek and potato sauce, which I was using some more of the leftover leek and potato soup, which soups can make a fantastic creamy sauce for whenever you're doing other meals. And we had it with some honey carrots. And then dinner was 30% off pizzas and some potatoes in the air fryer. I know, not 75%, but still worth buying if you fancy pizza and you haven't got any left in your freezer. Then for day 27, breakfast was some soft spread on toast. So kind of a bit like Philadelphia that Aldi sells, but it's just a bit similar, and it's just great for doing some air fried toast with. And then, of course, if you haven't done toast in the air fryer, then check out the pictures now, because then you can just see how good the toast looks when cooked in the air fryer. And then lunch was back to our leftover halloumi pasta that we had placed in the freezer, and it was just great for a quick reheat for a quick meal. And then dinner was jacket potatoes with cheese. Got some spare Aldi cheese in, always got some margarine in or some butter, and it's just perfect for a quick dinner. And then day 28, which, oh wow, we're at the end already, was breakfast was egg cups, lunch was a small pasta portion with some potato hash, and it was really yummy, and dinner was baked potato with some tuna mayo. And I've also done another audit at the end of day 28. I've noticed I've got a lot left. I've planned for meals, and I've actually got enough to do another 2 weeks of meals with just topping up on eggs, milk, and maybe a little bit more bread, which is fantastic. So really, when you think of doing these meal plans and you buy in the ingredients, you're always going to have something left over to do a few more days. And if your family are reheating the leftovers and making pasta dishes like we are, and vegetable bakes, then it will go a lot further than what you think. And just when you're in Aldi's, just have a look at what the 75% stickers are and think of something imaginative that you can do with yours. And if you enjoyed this, I recommend you watch the rest of the videos in the series, because we've done 5 about Aldi, and this is just a run through of what we actually ate, and all the recipes that I've mentioned here, they're all on recipethis.com. So simply head over to recipethis.com and search for a particular recipe. For the final part of this video, what I wanted to talk about is the best Aldi tips for success. Things that I recommend you do to make your savings on Aldi groceries even bigger, and also to make your meals more interesting and fun. First of all, go shopping at 6 p.m. Forget those 9 a.m. shops, I want to get it over and done with thing, because the best deals can be had when you shop at Aldi at 6 p.m. This is because they're marking down the yellow stickers and you're more likely to find the produce that's got 75% marked off it. I didn't actually get this during my 28-day challenge that I've just done for you. I actually got it just the other day, and that was, I went in, it was just after Christmas, and I managed to get some lamb loin roast and some lamb shoulders at 75% off. If I'd gone in the morning, I wouldn't have got those deals. So that shows you the kind of deals you can get. The best ones will always be off the meat. But, you can always stockpile your bread for the week and do that kind of thing too. It doesn't just have to be about the meat. And then second on the list is I recommend that you regularly do a grocery audit. By grocery audit, what I'm talking about is, let's say it's 2 days before you're due to go grocery shopping. You get your pen and paper out and you list everything that you've got left. You particularly make notes of things that have got dates that are coming up, or ones where the fruit and veg are looking like they are past their best. And the idea here is that you're going to cook these foods first. You're going to remember all these great foods that you've got in that you forgot about, that are at the back of your freezer, at the back of your cupboards, and you can bring new life to them. And let's say it's 2 days before grocery shopping and you want to save some money, and you found enough to make a few meals with, then what you could do is you could delay the grocery shop for another 2 days. So instead of grocery shopping in 2 days, it's 4, and then maybe you've even got enough to miss a week and actually save quite a bit. Or you could go into Aldi's and just spend £6 just getting a few essentials that you can work with these ingredients, such as topping up your milk, your eggs, and other dairy that you haven't got. And then next, we live in this world where we're obsessed with these yellow stickers. I know, I'm obsessed with them. And what I've found is that you end up buying the ones for things that you don't actually want and that you're not going to use. So just look at that yellow sticker. Are you actually going to eat it? Or are you just being greedy and getting it because it's on yellow sticker? I've often turned them down because they've got salad on discount. I've already got some salad in. I ain't going to eat it by the time it comes along. Or they've got 75% off bread for the millionth time, and I've still got some bread in the freezer. It's under those kind of circumstances that I walk away from them. And then next, repurposing your leftovers. By this I mean, instead of just throwing away your leftovers, place them back in the fridge and make sure your next meal comes from them. A good example of this, which we've done during our 28-day Aldi meal plan, is taking some corned beef hash, that of course is made with carrots, potatoes and corned beef from Aldi, and then the leftovers were made into pasties. I mean, every British person loves a pasty, right? I know I do. I absolutely love them. So what I recommend you do is, let's say you've just got, I don't know, 4 tablespoons left of some corned beef hash you made. Normally you chuck that because you say, oh, that's not enough to feed somebody. But that is enough to fill 4 pasties with, because pasties don't actually have that much filling in them. And then you've got a fantastic, a great upsell, I like to call it, because it's like you're upcycling it, because you're making corned beef hash really, really good and delicious. And you can do the same with so many others. I mean, you can make a stew and then turn them into Cornish pasties. You can use leftover cheese and onion from your jacket potatoes and their cheese and onion pasties, and so much more. And of course, don't forget, those vegetable scraps make amazing instant pot vegetable stock. So those are just a few ideas, but always remember to make use of your leftovers. Our problem is we use our leftovers so much that sometimes we think we've bought too much food because we haven't actually got through all the food. So stuff ends up getting thrown in the freezer because we're like, oh my God, did we really buy that much food? But we didn't buy that much food. It's just that we've made use of every bit of the leftovers. And then, of course, to bulk up your meals with yellow stickers. You look at some yellow stickers and think to yourself, oh, I can't really do anything with that. But think again, there is so much choice. For example, what we did is I got some yellow stickers, and one of the ingredients I got, again, this is in our video for the Aldi meal plan, is we got some stickers for some lamb steak. Only one lamb steak, you know. We're a family of five. Well, I call ourselves a family of five, but we're like feeding four people because two of them are small children. And I got this lamb steak, and what I did with it was I chopped up the steak and it became lamb stew and dumplings. The stew and dumplings itself was very cheap, and we'd used leftovers from a vegetable stew and dumplings, so we were simply bulking up the meal with a great Aldi 75% off sticker. And then last on the list for my tips actually came to me through a conversation I had with a great friend of mine. And he works for a more upmarket supermarket, let's say, compared to Aldi. And his one comment about where he works is that, unlike Aldi, the fruit and veg lasts a lot longer. And that's very true. Fruit and veg at Aldi doesn't seem to have the longevity that a lot of other places have. So what I recommend you do is you meal prep as soon as you've got home from the groceries, and then think about how you're going to use them. For example, if you've got some vegetables and you're planning on having a vegetable stew, prep it when you get home, and then you can cook it, and the stew will last a lot longer in the fridge over a few days rather than just leaving your vegetables on the side. So kind of think of how you're going to use that food so that you can make use of them before they waste. And of course, that's just a few tips. There's so much things to learn about Aldi, and I hope I've given you some really good pointers. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Recipe This family. Recipe This can be found on Twitter, Facebook. We also have our own Facebook group, Pinterest, and best of all, there is the recipethis.com/newsletter. In the weekly newsletter, we share with you the latest tips and tricks, as well as the latest recipes that you can cook at home using your kitchen gadgets. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll be in the loop whenever we post new videos.